County Benson Bridge.
Hi, I'm Joey Lafferty, JV Engineers, here on behalf of Cache County, presenting for the Benson Bridge Rehabilitation Project. It's a bridge, obviously, out in Benson. It does have its deficiencies, but with a little TLC, I think it can last a long time. So, it's located, like I said, out in Benson. If you were to go to the airport and head west on Airport Road, you end up getting to the T in the road up there, and we're just at the north end of the T there. You know where Daryl's Appliances, right near there. So it's about 200 feet long, about 40 feet wide. It's a 3-span bridge, so that means there's 2 piers out in the middle of the river. So that's kind of what we're working with here. Existing condition. Like I said, it does have its deficiencies. We use a lot of salt here in Utah to melt ice and snow, which is great, gets things, roads cleared. But if you put it down on concrete, you can get chloride down into the concrete, which can corrode your rebar. When rebar corrodes, it expands, and you can get concrete kind of popping away from the rebar. We call that delamination. When it falls away completely, we call that spalling, and that's where we get these holes. In some locations, there was even rebar showing. Cache County has kind of patched this up a little bit, just a little Band-Aid. We put asphalt in the holes, just like I said, it's just a Band-Aid for now. It's not going to be a long-term solution. You can see here on the right picture, the joints are also in bad shape. The joint material is missing. We're pretty sure it's in the river down below. The angle irons are also pulling away from the concrete, which can pose a safety hazard. When these joints are over the piers, then you get the salt and the water coming down in the open joint. You get this concrete down below deteriorating as well. So overall, not a good situation when those joints are open. You can see exposed rebar here and some delamination and spalling here as well. So that's the bad news. Good news is these girders this bridge was built in 1965. So 54 years ago, these girders are in almost pristine condition. Part of the reason is that they were the types of girders that were placed. These are the main beams that carry the bridge. They're much bigger than they need to be. So the loads that are going across them, the trucks that do drive across them, don't have much of an impact on those girders. So they're in really good shape. You will note there's a couple spots on a few girders where there's a little bit of corrosion. You'll see up in the top right picture. It's not a big concern, but we are going to be addressing that. So what we're going to do to fix this, the deck, we're going to be using a method of repair known as hydro-demolition, shooting high-pressured water at the concrete to remove the portions that we want to remove, but keep the portions that are still in good shape. Right now, the top of the deck is either delaminated or spalling, or those locations that aren't delaminated or spalling yet do have high chloride content. We've gone out and tested it. And we expect there to, if we were to just patch up the locations that are in bad shape now, we would expect some further deterioration if that was left in place. So we're going to be removing the entire top portion of the deck, leaving the bottom portion in place. It's solid, it doesn't have chloride in it. We'll save what we can. So that's what we'll be doing with the deck. We'll be replacing it with nice new low-shrinkage concrete. It doesn't crack as much. So that'll help protect from future corrosion. We'll be replacing it with epoxy-coated rebar, also protects it from future corrosion. The diaphragms and girder ends, we'll be cleaning and repairing that concrete, pretty straightforward there. The joints I mentioned, we've got 4 joints, 2 at the piers and 2 at the abutments, the ends of the bridge. The ones at the piers, we don't need a joint there. We're just going to fill them up with concrete and call it good. We are going to replace the joints out at the abutments. We we do need those. We've got some other small concrete repairs, some light cracking that we'll be injecting with some epoxy to fix those. And the curb has some delamination spalling that we're replacing that as well. So brass tacks, the cost is about $660,000. The county's asking for less than $300,000. Couple things to note with that. It's 55% match. The county's really committed to this project. And they're putting their money where their mouth is and making sure that we can get this funded. Another noteworthy item of why this is worth the funding is we're not just being reactive in repairing the damage that's out there, we're also being proactive in protecting it from future damage. Like I mentioned, the concrete and the rebar that we'll be using to help protect it from future damage, closing of the joints at the piers also protects it, and we'll be overlaying it with a polymer that's, again, even more protection. So a little bit of funding here now can potentially keep this bridge in service for decades to come, and potentially avoid a costly bridge replacement. If we were to have to replace the bridge, we're looking at upwards of $2 million or so. So if we can avoid that, that'd be fantastic. So, any questions?
What's the timeline on how long will the bridge be out of commission?
We expect about 8 to 10 weeks. And during that time, it'd be completely closed. There would be a detour.
When will that be?
We'd hope next year, so spring or summer 2020. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Last one, North Logan, 3100 North.